Okay. So I think let's start now. So let's have a round of introduction. Hello everyone, welcome to the session on ISB PGP YLP. Because there is a change this year on the YLP program, we have decided to invite Amit Tyagi sir, who is the Associate Director of Admissions at ISB. He'll be more than happy to answer all of your queries regarding why is this change, what is the change, what is the cutoff, all those things, whatever queries you have. I have noted down a few queries which were coming from you guys. One by one, I'll be giving those questions to Amit sir. He'll be answering it, and at the end, we can have an open round of forum for any type of Q&A which you guys have. This works, Amit sir, right?
Perfectly fine.
Right. So, sir, can we start with like ISB was doing really great with their 1 year PGP program, right? While P exist was into existence for last few years, but with a deferred program. So, what exactly changed this year to start a 2 year new PGP program this year?
Yeah. So we are still doing great with a 1 year program. There's no question about that. But we had batches of YLP. We now had almost 10 to 12 cycles of YLP as well. And we've been interacting closely with those people. And as a school, we believe in taking feedback and viewpoints of various stakeholders. Students being one of the key stakeholders, we got a lot of feedback from students saying that we are ready, we already have made up our minds that we want to have a management career, so why should we wait for 2 years to join MBA program? Why not do it right after we are graduating or with places of work experience and we are already selected? That was one viewpoint. The second viewpoint was from the recruiter side. A lot of recruiters express interest in hiring people who are with less years of work experience, who can be groomed in the organizations and then put into leadership positions, functional leads, business leads, and and so on, so forth, eventually. And there was a clear demand from both the sides, both recruiters as well as uh, students, and hence this program. Now, somebody who comes in with less years of work experience, would need certain interventions, initiatives in the classroom to different from somebody who comes with 4 years of work experience. An average of 4 years in a PGP classroom, diversity, and so on and so forth. So this 2 year program, which enables in the first year for students to have more hands-on exposure, more experiential elements in the program, and then they go on to specialize in various career pathways that we have on offer for second year, and they also do an internship to give them that industry exposure before they move on to their career pathways and take up those courses specialized to what careers they want to be. Hence, this program for people who are, less as a work experience, but are clear about what goals they have in terms of their careers, management careers, and want to accelerate their careers. Don't want to wait for 2, 3 years to, and then look at what they want to do. So that's the whole genesis behind this 2 year program that we have brought in.
Got it. Thank you very much, sir, Amit sir, for answering this. My follow-up question on this: what is going to be the difference between normal PGP program, which is your 1 year program, and this 2 year program in terms of the teaching pedagogy, the faculties? Is there going to be a difference, or is it going to be exactly same?
So as I mentioned earlier, you know, there's going to be a difference because people who come with less years of work experience will need certain interventions, which we have, put in the program for the first year. The program is more spaced out. The core courses are more spaced out for them to, absorb the elements of experiential learning as well as the curriculum. While for people who come with higher years of work experience, they have a more rigorous program where, they come with certain learnings from the industry. They come with certain exposure. So that's the key difference that we have in terms of the curriculum. In terms of the faculty, in terms of the learning pedagogy, it's the same faculty which will be teaching both the programs. It's a similar, a pedagogy that we have at ISB, which is a global, learnings in an Indian context. That is will be taught in this particular program, and all the courses in the program, even will have an element of tech, data, and analytics, and that's what distinguishes us from other B schools as well, because we believe that any business leader who is going to go to industry in the next 2 3 years will not just need to have knowledge of management concepts and understanding of their functions, but will also need an understanding of tech data and analytics because to make decisions. And I don't say that they have to be masters in technical aspects or data or analytics. No, but they have to have a clear understanding of it to make business decisions once they go to the industry, and that's one key element of our curriculum at ISB.
Got it. I think there is going to be no difference mainly in terms of normal PGP program and the YLP program, right?
In
So,
terms of
Amit, so
package.
finally coming to the point for which I think most of the students are waiting. Now, ISB YLP program will accept the CAT score. What is going to be the cutoff?
Great, great. So, if people have been following our YLP program or the 1 year PPG program, you will know that we have very holistic selection process. We don't have a cutoff on individual parameters. We have cutoff on profile score of the candidates. And profile score for this program will consist of your CADs, your test scores, your essays, your letters of recommendation, your extracurrics, and so on and so forth. Your achievements and other things. And all this will be converted into a profile score. Cutoff will be on the profile score, not on the individual score. But having said that, I understand, candidates, what we call it, uh, focus on the test scores because that's one thing in the hands right now. Other
Right.
elements of profile, like your CAD's already done. Essays is what you get clarity in terms of the process of filling the application, introspection, and so on, so forth. So we accepting all three tests, CAT, GMAT, and GRE. And being a top B school, we are going to have similar cutoffs. Like other B schools of our pedigree, but we'll also ensure that everybody who has other elements will be taken into consideration. So I see at least 95% and above, in my opinion. Of course, the round one results will be out soon for the shortlist, is what we should look at, as a cutoff. But if you have other elements, if you're a sports person, if you have really high achievements, if you have something in research, in co-curricular activities, your acads are good, and even lower could do.
Okay. I'll give you a few cases like just to check the feasibility of the CAT cutoff percentile. For example, let's suppose it's a fresher with a good ACATS of let's suppose 999.
Hmm.
What should be the cutoff for a fresher? Should is it going to be in the range of 95, 97, or 99?
No, it's too simplistic for me to say that without knowing the other elements, because in terms of the profile, we look at in-depth lot of things.
Right.
We look at acads, we look at what degree, what university, what scores, because we also normalize scores across the universities. So it's very simplistic to say that I have this profile. What should be my cutoff for the course? But what else suggest candidates is look at your profile. If you think you have certain elements which stand out, then look at, even if it's lower score, I'll encourage you to apply.
Okay. So basically, if the profile is good and someone has a percentile of let's suppose 95, they should apply, right?
I would say they should apply. Whether they
Right.
get in or not is a different thing, but they should definitely look at applying because of the selection criteria that we have. And it's very difficult to predict cutoffs, since this being the first year, seats being limited in the first year. So it's difficult to predict the cutoffs as such. And for individual cases, more so very difficult.
Right. Because of it, sir, I think that's one question which I keep on getting every day.
I know.
That
Every
what
same
is
year.
the cutoff and should I apply or not?
Same here, same here. So my answer on should I apply or not is, of course, first look at the basic, hygiene factors in terms of what you have in your profile elements. But you know, there are two things. One is if you don't apply, you will sure get a reject. If you
Hmm.
apply, you still have a chance. Whether
Yes.
it's minuscule, whether it's high, it's up to your profile. But not applying is a short reject. If you fall within a particular range, is what I would suggest to candidates. I'm not saying blindly apply, but look at your profile. If you think you have some certain elements, it's better to apply when there's a minuscule chance because it's just a matter of the application fee. There's no other
Right.
drop to it. It's
Great.
not that, if you apply next year with a better score, we look at your last year's application. No, we encourage reapplicants. We encourage people who have, improved their profile and have applied to us second time. We look at them very positively. So that's my advice to all the candidates.
Got it. Got it. So, sir, coming to the next question, which I think most of the students are waiting. When will be the results of round one will be declared?
In the next few days, we should be releasing certain shortlists for some people. And
Okay.
then interviews should happen by mid-Feb is what I'm looking at. And results should come out by around third week of March for round
Okay.
one.
Got it. And the interviews, these will be held online or a few offline places?
We have mostly offline, but we'll have option for people to look also do virtual interviews in case it's not convenient to them. We'll have interviews in 4 or 5 cities, but in case it's not convenient to them to travel to those locations, or if they're at international locations, you can do a virtual interview. And in case the date on which you're called for interview is not convenient, you can also ask for reschedule. And people, if somebody has applied for virtual interview, want to change your interview slot to in person, that also is possible. But you will write to us to do that. Somebody also in the chat asked about the round two timelines. So round two deadline is 16th of March, and by April first week we should have the deadlines. The shortlists out, interviews in April, and by May first week or second week max we should have the results in place.
Got it. So, got it. So, what do you recommend? Should students apply for round two once the results of round one are out so that they are aware of the cutoff? Or should they start applying now? Because I think coming from the students.
Yeah, I totally understand. So deadline is what it is. It is 16th of March. Whether you apply now or whether you apply on 16th of March, your processing is going to happen together with all the applications. So it's up to you how we want to do it. What I see is a lot of people wait till the deadlines to apply because they want to make sure everything is ready. A lot of people also apply early, or few of them I would say apply early because that's the timeline that suits them. But it's
Great.
totally up to the student's choice. I mean, that's deadline is meant for a particular reason, and you can apply anytime within the deadline.
Got it. So I think ISB with this new program is trying to compete with the same pedigree colleges like mainly Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and Calcutta. And they have a proper composite score calculator kind of thing wherein the
Hmm.
student can calculate. And now they are aware whether they'll get an interview call or not.
Mhm.
So is there a formula to check whether the student is eligible for getting a call or not? Maybe a
Yeah,
composite score
yeah. So
calculator.
that's the thing I want to tell you. One is that as a school, we have charted a different path since our inception. We have been more of a global school, bringing the global best practices, and one of that has been not to look at a particular set formula for students. We don't say this is an ideal candidate. We look at students, to give them a complete chances to showcase their strengths and play to their strengths. So it so happens that people have lesser test scores but very good in other areas, they get into the class. And there are people who have higher test scores, but if they don't take care in the application process, they don't get into the class. So we don't have that formula. It's a very complex process of building a profile, which will include various sub parameters also. So I gave you for 4 or 5 parameters earlier, but even within that there are different elements. ACADS, we look at various things. We look at your schooling, we look at your undergrad, we look at normalizing scores across degrees, across universities, and so many factors. It's not a very black and white kind of a thing, because you want to give chances to a student. You want to ensure that everybody has a fair chance to represent themselves in the school. Essays play a very important role. I don't think any other of these schools is looking at essays in the application per se, and that's one of the key things, because clarity of thought is very important to do an MBA, and we lay a lot of stress on that in our selection process. So be very introspective when you attempt your essays. We look at validation of your skill sets through your letters of recommendation. There'll be a interview which is going to be different from what we have in other schools doing it. It's more of an introspective interview rather than asking you JK questions or asking you about your academic this thing. Of course, all those things we'll taken care of in the academic section, but it's more of an interaction. So there's no set formula. We don't want to go by a set formula where this is a formula. You go in, put your number, and you'll get to know. It's a different thing. Everybody has a chance to represent you and play to your strengths.
Right. Essays are going to play the most important part in the overall shortlisting criteria.
I'm sorry, your voice broke a bit. You were saying?
Okay. I was saying, like, is it fair to say that essays will have a component of around 50% in the overall shortlisting criteria?
No, 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 no. It's not fair
No.
to say that at all. So, essays will not have, it will have a component, but it will not
Okay.
have an outsized component. So
Got
essays are
it.
an element for us to know your clarity of thought, and it's also a tool for interviewers to also know you before they come to interview you. It's not something that, people just come on the day and interview you. They prepare to interview you before they come. So essays, your other profile parameters are available to them, minus the quantitative aspect. So we won't share with them your uh, GMAT, GRE, CAT scores or your CADs, but they will know where you studied, what kind of thought process you have through essays, what if you have any work ex, if you what your peers think about you or seniors think about you through a letter, and all those aspects. So that is also that essay also have that element in the process, but there's no percentage as high as what you mentioned in the overall component, but they do have some weightage in the process, along with your CADs, along with your test scores, along with your achievements and other things.
Got it. Also, sir, a follow-up question on this. For the normal PGP program, it was announced that there is going to be a written ability test along with the interview.
Yes, yes.
Is it going to be similar for YLP as well?
Yes, it's going to be similar for YLP. Prior to interview, you will be, right, taking a 20 or 30-minute kind of activity where you write on a topic given to you. The idea is simple. Essays are more of a reflection, and where you take time and write your thoughts and showcase yourself. Written ability test is more of on the spot writing skills. We just want to test how well you think on the spot and communicate through writing. That's the only thing.
And is it going to be pen and paper based or computer based?
It's going to be computer based. You'll
Computer
write
based.
online.
Got it. Because that's how students will practice for their right. Got it. And is there going to be any round three for YLP similar to
No, no.
PGP?
Only two rounds, round one and round two.
Got it. And now, if do we have any count on the intake or basically the number of students?
So we are looking at around 140 to 150 students in the initial year. It will go slightly higher, depending upon the cutoffs and other things. But 140, 150 is the base, what we call the number of seats we're looking to fill this year.
Oh, so it's not going to be a very huge batch,
It's
just a
not going to
smaller
be
batch for the first year.
for the first year. And that's all due to the constraints that we have in terms of facilities on the campus. We want to ensure that any student who comes into ISB gets the same experience, whether
Hmm.
regardless of whichever program that they're coming in. So you'll have all the facilities, access to all the facilities that we have on campus, just like any other students. And once we add more facilities, which we're in the process of doing, then we could be looking at more students in subsequent years, and maybe across the
Got it.
campus as well.
Got it. And now, since so the intake of the college is going to be increased by 150 all of a sudden, the students are concerned about the placement. Will college be able to sustain the same placement average CTC for these 150 students as well?
See, when the students come up, it opens up new opportunities also. Earlier we were placing students with 2+ years of work experience, and when companies come to ISB, they come with a wide variety of roles, unlike other B schools, and you have a professional placement team. So when, let's say, when Amazon comes to ISB, or when or McKinsey comes to ISB, they come not just for hiring people at entry level positions or junior level positions. They look at mid level positions, they look at mid senior, and they also have leadership from ISB. I know of somebody who had 18 years of work experience. He was in the 1 year program, and he got hired as a VP for sales compensation at Amazon a couple of years ago. So when and recruiters themselves have expressed a need to have more people, from the inexperienced group, as we call it, so that they can groom them in the organization. So that's just opening a window for these recruiters, and these recruiters have more people to choose from, and there are going to be new recruiters added because of the internship route, which we are missing out earlier. So we have an internship in this program. So a lot of recruiters have expressed interest in that. So I see, in fact, in my opinion, at least 60-70% of the students should be placed by internships or PPIs or PPOs alone is what we are expecting as part, because it's a small cohort, or what we're expecting as part of the first year's placements.
Right. And I think this entire YLP program will be running only in the Hyderabad campus, not in Mohali.
Yeah, VIAL. VIALP is different. This is VIAL program, PGP VIAL.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. Also, so one more question which is coming from the students. A lot of them are yet to appear for their GMAT or GRE. Is it possible that they are submitting their GMAT or GRE score after the deadline? So they'll be submitting their application form with their essays and the entire profile, but their final marks they'll be submitting after 13th of March.
So that deadline is 16th of March.
16th of
And
March, yes.
yeah, and you need to take your test on or before 16th of March. So you can't take a test after 16th of March. So if you take a test even on 16th, it's perfectly fine. You can apply with unofficial scores. But after the deadline, you cannot take a test. Then you cannot apply. You're not eligible to apply for this round, at least this year, last round.
Got it. Got it. One last question, sir, from my side before we open it for the students. The interviews. So all the interviews will be held either in Mohali or Hyderabad, or it will be available across all metro cities at least.
Yeah, so we'll have interviews in Bombay, Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and maybe even Kolkata if we have the logistics so permit. But at least in the top 4 cities, we'll have interviews this year.
Okay. And students will be getting around 8 to 10 days in advance before the interview. So that
Now,
they can plan.
should be getting around that much time at least.
Got it. Got it. So I think, Amit sir, I am done with all the questions which I have from the students. Platform for the students, if they have anything, they can ask. I think we have a few pointers in the chat as well.
Is the deferred program still available? No, Devesh. The deferred program is replaced by PGP VIAL. So you can apply and join directly. For PGP, once you join, you can ask, once you get an offer, you can defer by a year on reasonable circumstances. Else, there's no deferred program as such now. There's no YLP as what it used to be.
Got it. There is a question from Karthik as well, that he has got various LORs from college professors, internship managers, but 2 to 3 years back. So will these LORs work?
Okay. So LOR is not something which you get a letter from somebody. It's part of the application process itself. What you're required to do is just mention the name of the recommender, email address, and we'll auto trigger a link to that email address for them to click on it and submit the letter of recommendation, where they'll be asked a few questions to answer about you. Typically takes 15 to 20 minutes to write an LOR through this format. So in hard copy letters are not required. You just have to submit the name of the person and their email address in the application form.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And Amit, so those recommenders will get an automated email from ISB, and
Yes.
they'll have to write a recommendation and then submit it.
Yes.
Right. Got it. Anything else from anyone over here?
Can I go ahead and ask a question?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Vishnu.
Sir, I just wanted to ask, let's say we want an LOR from my manager and they have switched firms. So now they technically won't be part of the organization that I worked at, and their official email would also have changed. What do we
That's
do
not
in
a
that
problem.
case?
That's
Okay.
not, as long as you have had a professional relationship with them, that's not a
Okay.
problem at all.
All right. Thank you so much.
There is a question from Parth. What are going to be the specific courses which will be offered in this program?
Yeah. So yeah, I will talk to the curriculum. So curriculum at this program has three key pillars. What we call maximizing cross-functional learning or classroom learning. In this, in the first year, you'll undergo core courses. And core courses are designed to give you a complete understanding of analytical foundations with courses as accounting, stats, and so on and so forth. Then we have a complete understanding of how a firm operates. So we'll have elements of marketing, operations, finance, strategy as part of the core courses. And the third thing is to have understanding of leadership and communication. So you'll have courses in organizational theory, behavior, communication, and so on and so forth, which are part of the first year core courses. Apart from these core courses, we'll have an experiential lab, what we call the ideas lab, where we'll be working on a case, a live project, and finding solutions to that particular problem which is faced by the industry. So that's one thing. This and in between the first and second year, you have the what we call the internship to give you more industry exposure. Second year onwards, you'll be taking electives to determine your career pathways. Let's say you want to go into finance, you want to go into investment banking, then you take a certain set of courses, which you'll be guided through. And you can take up to, 17 to 18 electives in the second year, with more than 80 plus electives to choose from. Now, somebody asked about scope for entrepreneurship. I was coming to that. In the second year, you also have the second lab called Pivot Lab. Pivot Lab is platform for innovation and venture-oriented thinking. Now, as part of the Pivot Lab, you'll be exposed to how to go about building an entrepreneurial venture, or how to think like an entrepreneur. For both people who want to work in the industry, it's important to think like an entrepreneur, how to run businesses, and also for people who want to do their own startups. So, as part of this course, you learn how to go about building a startup. Now, if you are keen on entrepreneurship, you can use this platform to actually have your own business plan done and apply to the incubation center once you graduate. If you are shortlisted by the incubation centers, there are two at ISB, any one of them, you are incubated. That is, we give you office space, we give you mentorship, we give you networking among industry leaders and so on and so forth to start building a startup. More importantly, we give a stipend of up to 1 lakh rupees per month to sustain yourself while you go about building a startup. And let's say if after a year your startup flourishes, will help you get funding and through angel partners or venture capitalists of the ISB ecosystem. And if not, you can come back to ISB after a year and sit for placements and restart a corporate journey. So that's one element which we are offering, to our students as part of the pivot lab. So second year, apart from these two labs, we also have block weeks, which are courses taught by industry leaders on what they're actually working on. So recently we had Mr. Rajat Gupta, former global head of McKinsey. He taught a course at ISB for 1 week toward PGP students, and similar people will be coming and taking those block weeks, which you can sign up for depending upon what your interests are. So this, in brief, is what the curriculum looks like at PGP YL.
Got it, bro. That I think really, really great. There is one more question from Harshita. For the round one results, will their shortlist be out at once for everyone, or candidates will get emails on a rolling basis?
Not on roll but it will be in blocks or batches, is what I foresee.
But I think within a span of 1 to 2 days.
Not within span, maybe span of weeks, a week or so.
Oh, okay. So basically, those who will not be getting the emails on the very first day,
Still
they
has
might
hope.
get an email in the next few days. So they'll
Yes,
have to
yes,
wait.
yes. Yes, they'll have to wait. Because
Okay.
interviews also staggered. They'll happen, in different weeks. Week one could be Bombay and Delhi. Week two could be, Hyderabad and Bangalore. And then again, the next week, we'll rotate the cities. So that's the reason.
Got it. And if someone has already applied for round one and they are not selected, they can't appear for round two, right? They'll
They
have to
cannot appear
appear
for
next year.
no, no. Yeah, it's only one application in a cycle, either in round one or round two. Rounds only for the ease of us candidates to apply and get the results.
Got it. There is one more question from Shavik. How many students will be selected in round one? He wants to understand the competition for round two.
Yeah, so there is no, set number of students for round one or round two. It's
Hmm.
pure, this is cutoffs. We have a cutoff in mind, and cutoffs can go down, they cannot go up, right? So let's say you have a cutoff in round one, and we have certain number of students because of that, and then in round two, the same cutoff applies. And if there is any leftovers, then the waitlist is activated. That's how it process works.
Got it. Also, one more thing, and it is coming from Ayush's question. So let's suppose a student has given two exams, maybe GMAT as well as CAT.
Hmm.
Can they apply through both these scores, or will they be allowed to apply only from one score,
No, they
maybe
can
CAT?
apply to both or even all three also. And what we'll do
Okay.
is we'll take the best that is
Out
applicable to
of
the profile. Yeah.
perfect. Okay. Uh,
What criteria will be used to evaluate the essays? So essays is clarity of thought in your, what kind of instances you showcase your level of maturity, your articulation skill sets. That's what will be tested in the essays, and of course the content that you write.
I think there is one more question from Manas. What can freshers expect in the interview process? Is it going to be the ACADS, GK, or the discussion part which you just mentioned?
As I mentioned earlier, it's not going to be GK, it's not going to be core tech acads. Whatever you have mentioned in the application, you should be able to talk about it in depth. So maybe they'll probe you on your essays, maybe they will probe you on your projects that you've talked about. If you've done an internship, you should be thorough with how it impacts, scope beyond your work you did, maybe how it impacts the industry, the teams, and so on and so forth. So think 2 3 levels deep on whatever you have mentioned in the application, and you should be good to answer those questions. So don't just mention anything, which you are not very conversant talking about with them. Let's say talk about music as a hobby, and be prepared to answer a few questions on music, at least at 1 or 2 levels deep. Don't be very superficial about it. So that's what I'll suggest. That's how the interviews are going to progress. We're not going to ask you who is the president of Kazakhstan or other things, or your total core first year subjects. Don't worry about that. But whatever your aspirations, motivations through essays, through application, be prepared to talk about those things.
Got it. Uh, there is one more relevant question from Vishruth. Will freelancing over around 2 years of work ex be counted as a gap or as a disadvantage?
So freelancing, if you were getting paid for it, it was full time. That is continuous work for 2 years. It will be counted as work experience.
Got it. I think most of the questions have already been answered from here. Guys, is there anything else which you would like to ask from Amiso? Or otherwise, we'll call it off. I don't think, Amiso, there is anything else. I think you
Sure.
have answered each and everything pretty well. Thank you for your
Glad,
time.
yeah. Glad to be of assistance to all the students here, and wish you all the very best. And thank you, Deepak, for this opportunity that you have given to interact with students. Always happy to interact with students and clear their doubts.
No issue, sir. Whenever the students will accumulate 4 or 5 questions, I'll invite you again.
Sure. Look forward. Thank
Thank you, sir, for your time. Have a
Thank you.
lovely day. Bye.
Bye.